Autumn Tree stamp set is what we're using. I already have the stamps laid out that we'll be using today. And we are making a card on crumb cake. And then we're using Mossy Meadow and Very Vanilla and some of the Autumn Fall Designer Series paper to complete our project. I'm going to go ahead and just glue in that is not the one. This is the one. Glue in the little strip of Designer Series paper that I cut to size for the inside of our card. And this is pretty much it, but I think I might still have to trim just a smidgen. Okay. A little bit more. So this is going to be our card. I'm going to put it aside while we do all our stamping and die cutting today. And the stamping will take place on these little strips of Very Vanilla. First, I'm going to stamp the bush, and I think I decided I want to use pecan pie. And I didn't pull it out before we started, but good thing I have it right here. I want to use my blender pen to pull the ink up the tree trunk and into the branches. Well, I guess the bush trunk and into the branches. I don't know what you call it. This is a little short with leaves and branches all the way to the base. I think it's a bush. I don't know. Do you have trees where you live that look like this? Okay. So this is ready to go. And I'm going to clean off my bush. And then I'm just really not sure what I want to do these rocks and grass in, so I'll do them in crumb cake. And I think I will add some Mossy Meadow to the grassy area with my blender pen. when you're trying to make a palette with ink, just squeeze the middle of your ink pad. And then when you open it up, there should be a little spot of ink. That you can then pick up with your blender pen and color in some of the areas. So I'm doing that though. I changed my mind. I just want to stamp it again in the crumb cake and leave it alone. Okay. I'm going to pick it up. Stamp it in crumb cake. Gonna flip my paper over. And there it is. I will be, that little smudge doesn't matter because I'm going to be cutting this out. And the last thing I want to stamp is the deer in early espresso. I'm going to use the smaller of my Very Vanilla scraps because he fits. And I'm going to use my blender pen again just to draw the color from the edge into his body. That seems like it's almost dried out. These seem like they're pushed, but they're, oh look, I still have musty fat on them. So we have a deer with a green in his body, which is not what I want. I don't want a deer with a green backside. So we'll stamp it again. That'll be okay, because I'm also cutting him out. I have a die cut. Alright, here we go. We're going to try this again. It doesn't look like there's any green left in there. So, I will just be pulling the brown into his body. Okay. it's time to clean off my deer and then get out my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So first I have my rocks that I need to attach its framelit exactly where I need it to go. And there are my rocks. And then we have the deer. And I definitely want it to stay where it belongs. So I'm putting my washi tape on the frame to hold that frame in place, hopefully. And then we're going to send that through. And remember, when you're removing your washi tape, peel it slowly and at an angle. And hope that you won't mess up your deer. There he is. Okay, and next we have the bush. Oops. Well, where did that go? Very strange. Oh, here it is. And I like to go for a journey. I'm ignoring that phone because I am filming and I will check it out. Okay, here we go. Make sure that your paper and die are completely covered by both the top and the bottom plates, or they will cut. But also, when they slip and slide, double check and make sure your frame is okay. Because my frame was not good. So I'm fixing that. slowly and add an angle. And there we have our bush. Next, we're going to frame a scene on our designer series paper with a circle and a new piece of washi tape. And I definitely want to have some of the pheasants in it. So I'm going to put the circle where it's getting a pheasant by a evergreen tree and another one of a pheasant in flight. Okay, and then we send it through and hope for the best. Slowly and at an angle. Oops, it didn't quite cut all the way through. So I must not have had both plates on it all the way. So I am just going to help it along this little edge. Okay, there's the circle, and the last thing that we're going to die cut, is some branches to go on our bush. And I put adhesive paper on the back of this so that it won't be quite so difficult to get on our bush wherever we decide we want to put all the leaves, because we're going to cut them apart. Now I put the cut and emboss machine away because we are done. And I'm going to just push these leaves out. They don't just automatically come out always when there's adhesive backing on them. I'm actually going to grab my foam mat maybe if I can find it, and I have a die brush that it can go on the top of my take your pick tool, but right now I'm just going to use it like this and roll over those, and they didn't come out great. So I'm just going to help them a bit. There are just some pieces to this. Okay. We're just going to keep pulling out the branches. And it won't be until, well, that's apparently one of the places it's going to get cut because it just tore apart. Okay. It won't be until we put it all together that we know exactly what we want where. So, here we go. I'm going to start just by laying things out and seeing how I like them. Okay. I'm going to put branches on our bush first. That's a good place to tear it, and then I take off the backing and hope any little pieces that are supposed to come out do. They don't all. But I'm not going to care. I'm just going to leave them there. And we're just going to throw some branches on this bush, just randomly. Same thing you can do. Just randomly put branches wherever you want. I mean leaves. I don't know that these kind of leaves would be on this kind of bush, but today we don't care. We're just filling it up. and tear them off and stick them wherever you want, however you want. They're just fun, cute little leaves. Okay, there's our bush. So, first thing I'm going to do is glue down my circle. And then I'm going to use some dimensionals on the back of my tree, or my bush, whatever it is. We don't want to cover up the pheasant. That I know. And then gonna stick one or two on the back of my rocks. And then finally, I'm gonna decide where my deer will go. I think he might want to just go in there between the bush and the rock and the circle and all of it. He's just, of course, in the middle of everything. All right. Now, I haven't decided what type of card I want this to be. So I don't have any sentiments on it. Let me look real quick and see if I find a sentiment I want. Let's make this just because card. So I'm taking out of my everyday arches set just a hello. And getting my stamp block, putting the hello on there, have a little fuzz on my card. Okay, and then we're going to stamp in Early Espresso. And while we're stamping, I'm going to put my signature stamp on the back. You get a card. Well, I shouldn't say that because there are more than one of the Craft Queen stamps running around. But if you know me and you get a card from me and it says Craft Queen on the back, more than likely it's from me. All right, here we have just hello, and there's pheasants and deer and a spot for you to write your message. Hope you enjoyed that.